Hey guys, so I'm just back from the 2020 NAMM show. This is in Anaheim, California every year in the wintertime. And this is the big convention where all of the music equipment companies launch their new products and basically show off the new stuff that they have here. It's a huge convention with tons of people. It's easy to get lost, but there's a lot of cool rock stars walking around and also just really cool guitars. Now this video is just part one of my 2020 NAMM coverage, so I'm going to be doing a lot more of these videos coming up. But in this first video, I want to go over three really shred-friendly brands, and that is Kramer, Jackson, and Floyd Rose. And when I'm talking about Floyd Rose, I'm not just talking about the bridge, but also the person, the guy named Floyd Rose is actually a person, and also the Floyd Rose brand guitars. Okay, now let's start with Kramer guitars. Now Kramer, just in case you don't know, is owned by Gibson. So these are shown in the big Gibson room along with all the other, Gibson, SGs and Les Pauls and stuff. And to be totally honest, one thing that kind of stuck out to me this year is that they didn't really have very much that was new this year. They had a few new finish options of existing guitars, but they didn't have any new models. One thing I'm a little bit concerned about is the stuff they were showing this year is the same stuff they were showing last year. And the guitars that came out last year took a really, really long time to become available. Now, Kramer has redone their website finally, so they've got a cool new website, got some nice pictures of the guitars on there, and they do have some really cool stuff. But like as an example, the Jersey Star guitar was originally launched, I shouldn't say originally launched, but originally came out recently at the 2019 NAMM, which was in January of 2019, and it wasn't even available to buy until October of 2019. That's a long time. So I'm really hopeful that Kramer will up their game as far as just making the guitars available, because I know there are a lot of people interested in these guitars, but sometimes they're hard to get a hold of. All right, now I want to move on to Jackson here in a second, but real quick, guys, remember, if you enjoy this kind of content and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. I'm really trying to grow the channel this year, and I love making these videos for you. Next up, we can take a look at Jackson here. Now, Jackson, kind of like Gibson owns Kramer, Jackson is owned by Fender, and they had a few new models. They had some cool new signature models this year. Jeff Loomis is a big one, although that was announced earlier. There are some new Gus G signature models, but I think the real big thing this year for Jackson was they really, really expanded their finish options. And so they just took a lot of their existing models and they've really stepped up their game in terms of offering a wider variety of finishes. And some of these look really, really cool. You guys know I love all the 80s throwback stuff, and they've got some great crackle finishes. They did a couple of those last year, but they've expanded them this year, and they really just knocked them out of the park, in my opinion. In the 2000s, we've kind of gone through a lot of years where just like dark, black finishes have been really popular on guitars, but it seems like lately manufacturers have been offering a lot more, much more colorful finishes, which I think is always nice. It's always just nice to have a variety. And if you want to be seen from all the way in the back of the stadium, you need a bright, colorful guitar. Something to keep in mind, these guitars that I'm showing you here, these are not necessarily their super, super expensive guitars. These are not like the custom shop guitars. These are like the Pro Series, so they're not quite the USA-made, really expensive ones, but they're going to be around $1,000. They also have the X Series, which is down around $600 or $700. And then the JS series, which is the very affordable, like $300-400 range. And those are still really, really good guitars, and they even expanded the finish options in that range as well. Now, if there's anything here that you guys see in the video that you want to know more about, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll try to do some more research on those specific things, and as I'm planning my reviews for later in the year, I want to focus on the stuff that you guys want to see, so be sure to let me know down in the comments section below. Okay, now I want to talk about Floyd Rose, and there's a couple reasons why I want to mention this company. One is that I think there's actually a lot of people who do not realize that Floyd Rose is an actual person. It's the name of the guy, who invented the Floyd Rose bridge. It's not just a company or a name like Pink Floyd or something, which is not actually a person's name. But anyway, Floyd Rose, the guy, was actually there at NAMM. There he is right there. And he was showing off some new designs for both guitars and bridges that he had there, and it was some really cool stuff. The first thing I want to talk about is this thing called the Floyd Rose Speed Guide, which is actually a sort of modification or a design feature of a guitar body. Now what this is, the body underneath the strings has been raised up. You can kind of see it there in this picture. It's kind of raised up underneath the strings there. And what that does is it limits how far your pick can sink below the strings. And I know at first, when you first hear that, it sounds bad, right? It sounds like, well, you're going to hit that with your pick, it's going to get in your way. That's what I originally thought. And then I actually sat down and played one of these things at the NAMM show, and it makes your picking so consistent. It actually ends up really helping you a lot, especially for fast runs or any time where you want to have a really clean picking technique. This made a huge difference. And I've also heard that it's even good for people who do fingerstyle. And I know this whole thing, it seems a little counterintuitive. It seems like it would get in your way, like it wouldn't work, but that's not the experience I had at all. And I talked to several other people there who were trying it out, and they were all blown away by it as well. Now the guitars they were showing there at NAMM with a speed guide on them, these are like made in USA, very, pretty expensive guitars. These are like $3,000 to $4,000 in that range. But I talked to Mr. Rose there, and he said that they were going to be doing a made in South Korea production run of the guitars. So they're going to be obviously not thousands of dollars. They'd be substantially cheaper. And I'm hoping that as the year progresses, I'll be able to review one of those guitars. I really want to try and get one of those and show it to you guys because it's a really cool feature. All right, guys, now for all of this stuff, the new Floyd Rose things, the new Jackson models, and the Kramer models, I'm going to put links down in the video description below where you guys can check out all of that stuff. But please let me know what you think of these new things. Again, I'm hopeful that Kramer can sort of get their act together a bit as far as the availability of these guitars, because that has been a problem in the past. And yeah, they've got some really cool guitars, got some really cool color options. I just hope they're going to be more accessible than they have been in the past. And of course, I'm really excited for those new Jackson finishes and to check out those new marvels of guitar engineering from Floyd Rose. All right, guys, so this has just been part 1 of my 2020 NAMM coverage. I've got a lot more of these videos coming. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon in the next video.